Every culture has an instrument that defines it. In India, that instrument is the sitar, and its story is as remarkable as the music it makes. The sitar's origins reach back to the Mughal era, a period of extraordinary cultural exchange between Persia and India. Its design draws from two ancient instruments, the Indian veena, a fretless string instrument with roots stretching back thousands of years, and the Persian sitar, a three-stringed lute brought to India by Sufi musicians. The fusion of these two traditions, under the patronage of the Mughal courts, gave birth to something entirely new. Neither fully Persian nor fully Indian, but something richer than either. The modern sitar took shape in the 18th century, arriving at its present form in 19th century India. Master musicians continued to refine it. Sympathetic strings were added. The modern 7-string sitar was created. Each generation left their mark, shaping it, expanding it, pushing it further. The sitar we know today is the result of centuries of artistic devotion. The sitar belongs to Hindustani classical music, the classical tradition of northern India, built on deep structures called ragas. A raga is not simply a melody. It is a framework of notes, moods, and rules that a musician uses to improvise and create something entirely in the moment. No two performances are ever identical. Every time a sitar player sits down to play, what happens next has never happened before and will never happen again. The sitar itself is a remarkable object. A long, graceful neck. A gourd body made from a dried pumpkin that acts as a resonating chamber. Its frets are curved and movable, allowing players to bend notes in ways a guitar or piano simply cannot. And hidden beneath the main strings, a set of sympathetic strings vibrate on their own, adding a shimmer and depth you feel as much as hear. Not one voice, but many, all resonating together. All sitars are made by hand, usually by craftsmen whose families have been doing it for generations. A large dried gourd becomes the resonating body. The neck is carved from toonwood, Indian mahogany known for its warmth. Every measurement, every curve, determined by the hands of the maker and the needs of the musician. A finished sitar is not just an instrument, it is a collaboration between nature and human craft, built to last a lifetime. Learning to play the sitar is a serious commitment. Students traditionally studied under a guru in a relationship of deep dedication and respect. Ravi Shankar, the most celebrated sitar player of the 20th century, began as a child and practiced for hours every single day. He described the sitar not as something you learn, but as something you spend a lifetime discovering. Ravi Shankar would go on to change the world. In the 1950s and 60s, he brought the sitar to concert halls in Europe and America that had never heard anything like it. Then in 1966, a young guitarist from Liverpool walked through the door. George Harrison of the Beatles heard Shankar's music and was captivated. He began studying seriously, bringing the sitar into Norwegian wood and Within You Without You, introducing its sound to hundreds of millions of people. That same year, Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones used a sitar on Paint It Black. Shankar called it the Great Sitar Explosion. Suddenly, an instrument from the classical courts of northern India was playing on radios everywhere. The influence did not stop there. Jazz musicians were drawn to its improvisational nature, its modal scales. John Coltrane was deeply inspired by Indian classical music's approach to improvisation. John McLaughlin and Shakti brought Indian classical elements together with jazz, creating entirely new musical possibilities. A whole new genre, world music, was built on the idea that musical traditions from different cultures could speak to each other. The sitar was at the center of that conversation. And its logic, sympathetic resonance, movable frets, and drone strings quietly found their way into the DNA of modern music. Today, artists like Anushka Shankar and Niladri Kumar continue to push the instrument into electronic music, world music, and contemporary classical compositions. The sitar has never stopped evolving. There is something remarkable about an instrument that has traveled this far. From the Mughal courts of northern India to Carnegie Hall and the Royal Albert Hall. From Beatles recording studios to electronic music festivals of the 21st century. The sitar has outlasted empires, crossed oceans, and found its way into the hands of musicians born thousands of miles from where it was born. Somewhere, a sitar is waiting to be played. A student sits cross-legged on the floor, the instrument resting in their lap. Their guru watches. And softly, the sympathetic strings begin to vibrate, waiting for the music to begin.